Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. It's Tanker Broker again. In this video we'll be going through conditionals, which will be relating back to our force data type boolean. In the last video we went over error handling and how we could fix some errors. Hopefully we can use some of them concepts in this video. Conditionals are really helpful for error handling too, but I saved them for a different video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, as it would help me out too. And if you have any questions, comment down below and I'll answer them if I can. So as I mentioned, the conditionals relate to booleans, which was our force data type, and we know a boolean is either true or false. So true being basically an English term yes, and false being an English term no. So remember a couple of episodes back we made a program where it checks if actually no, before we go to that, let me show you what conditional is. So basically, last episode when we did try and accepts, remember we accept. So remember, when we write anything in the try block we have to indent it, so print hey, and if you write anything inside the accept block, did I try print accept, and then if you write anything outside these two blocks, we just don't indent it. We run this and then we get try and outside, but if we make an error here we get, what if we try divided by 5, just do that. If we get an error here, we get, instead of printing the try, we get accept and outside. So how print works is like you start off with an if, so if something equals something, then do something else, So if, let's say we get name equals Jim, so if name equals Jim, and print hey Jim, else print I don't know who you are. So let's just look at this quickly because this is throwing an error. Well, you can see we said if name equals Jim, but you can see this is where the error starts because of these squiggly lines. The issue with this here is that since we have name equals Jim, so since we have variables and we use this as an assignment tool for a value, so we assign a value to a variable with this assignment tool. If we try to use this here, it's gonna break because Python thinks we're trying to assign Jim to name again. So what we have to do here is we have to do a double equals, and then it's just now it's saying if name is equal to Jim rather than if name to Jim, make name to Jim. So let's just explain this now. So we have an if and else, so think it as a think of it as a tree. So basically we have if name equals Jim, if it's yes, print out this, If it's no, print out this. But remember, in Python we have true and false. So if name equals Jim equals true, so if this condition is equal to true, it'll print this, and if it's not equal to true, it'll print this. So this is basically a catch if this isn't true. So let's run this, and then we get hey Jim. But let's say we write this as Jack. We run this and we get I don't know who you are, which is basically what was expected. Let's look at this a bit more deeper. So let's comment this out quickly. We can also print out this. So print name equals Jim. We can print this out. So what would be the output that we would expect if name equals Jack? Remember, the two outputs are true or false with conditions, and if it's not Jim, it will output false. If it's Jim, it will output true. So our expected output is false, but if we do Jim again, our expected output is true. That is how Booleans work and how we can use them to make really powerful if and else statements. So let's go back to this. So I'll give you one more example. Password equal, let's just say password is my pass 123, and then we can do it where we get an input where we need to make this string first. String we can do, we'll get input from the user. So user input password, fairly long variable name, but it'll do. So we do input enter password. Obviously we don't want this as a number, we want it as a string. So we use the input, and then we do if user password equal password, then we do print correct password, and then we do else print invalid password. Alright, so let's just see what this does. We make a variable called password. It could be better if we ask the user to write any password they want, but for now we'll just store it in a variable, and then we ask the user to enter a password we store in this variable. We test if the user password is equal to this password, and if it is, print correct password, and if it's not, print invalid password. So let's run this. Enter password. So me known as Priyan, the password is mypass123, so let's try that. And then it prints correct password. Now let's see what happens if we write pass123. Well, the expected output is invalid password, so let's run this. Invalid password. But let's look at this a bit more, because Python is really case sensitive to string. So if I start with a capital M, so capital my password, so capital my password, pass123, so capital M and P, it'll come out with invalid password, because Python is looking for the exact key to exact word to word match, and if it doesn't see it, it just returns invalid password. So this is one way to use an if else statement to see if something is something, but we can also use if else statements on numbers. So we'll make a new one. So we say score equals let's say score is equal to input, enter student score, and we'll say the score is out of score is max score is 100. So now we do if score, well, we can't do if score equals 1 and then oops, if score equals 1, print grade 1, and then we just do that, and then we do grade 2, grade 1, and then we do this 100 times. That won't be well, it might work, but it won't be sufficient. It won't be good code. It won't be clean code. It won't be nice looking code. So Python has this operator. Remember when we went back to operators, plus, minus, add, times, divide, hard divide, and modulus. Well, Python has some Boolean operators, and these are let me just separate this with this vertical bar. These are Boolean operators which are more than, less than, more than, equal than, less than, equal than, and equal. So we can say if score is less or equal to 50, you write grade 1, then you can do else score, print grade 2. So let's run this. We get, so let's just say we write a digit smaller than 50, 42, you get grade 1. Let's say we get a digit more than 50, we do 77, and let's say we get a digit exactly 50, it'll be grade 1 because we mentioned if it's less or equal to, it'll run that. Alright, so we've went over that now. I want to introduce a new bit of syntax that goes well with if-else statements, and that's the elif. So basically, what we can do is get rid of this. So we can do L if score is greater than 50, because we don't want to do greater or equal to, because we've already done less or equal to 50 here. And then we do print grade 2. So basically what's happening here is since we use the if here, if score is score is smaller than 50, so it looks at this and checks if this is true or false. If it's true, it'll discard this, forget all about this. The one will look at this if elif, and then it'll print out grade 1. If it's false, it'll move on to the elif, it'll check this out, and if this is true, it'll basically print grade 2. So yeah, we'll run this. It's basically gonna do the same thing. 33 grade 1, 50 grade 1, and then 899 grade 2. But we can already see a logical bug here, and that bug is we've gave this a max value score of 100. So let's see what happens if we do 103. Well, it's still gonna give grade 3, but we don't want it to want to do 103. What if we wanted to do when if they do it more than 100 or less than 0, we want it to throw an error, but not really an error, more like a warning at him. So let's try 1 minus 33 grade 1. So using this elif statement, we can basically do elif score is greater than 100, print invalid input, and if score is greater than less than 0, let's put print this here. Get rid of this. Alright, so checks if this is true. If it is, it's gonna check this. If it's not, it's gonna check this. If check if this true, basically all of these will run at the same time. So if this is true, and if this is also true, you'll do this first, and let me explain. So let's say 2 grade 1, but let's also say minus 11. Actually it's doing that because, so this right now is a logical bug. It's doing this because we've mentioned these two after this. So what we can do is check for errors first. We can copy and paste that, cut that. We can do if here and then elif here. So now we've restructured it to see if it's if the input from the user is invalid, and if it is invalid we want to cut off the program. If it's not invalid, obviously we want to carry on. So let's do that. Let's clear this. Now let's just 2 again. We do minus 11 now, and then invalid input we do positive 109 invalid, and we do 88 grade 2. But this isn't the best way of doing it because it's a way cleaner, way more cleaner way of doing this. So first of all, these two are printing out the same output. So why, there's a way in Python we can just make it in one line. So we can get rid of this. We can do an if statement. Well, what's happening here? Oh, I see it. So this is that. So we can do an if statement saying if score is greater than 100, or if score is less than 0. So what's happening here? Let's just bracket out just to demonstrate what's happening. So what Python is doing, it's looking at this first, and then it's looking if it's true or false, and then if it's looking at this, and then it's looking if it's true or false. If this is true, and then there's an or between these two. So what or means, it means if one of these two are true, it'll do this. If one of these two are false, well, if both of these are false, it won't do this. So all or needs is either this or this to be true. So it looks at this. If it's false, it goes to this. If it's true, it goes to this. If this is also false, it goes to this one. So let's run this. Do minus 10 this time, invalid. We do positive 119 invalid, and then we do 22 grade 1, we do 77 grade 2. Now remember when we mentioned the else? Well, we don't really need this here. We don't really need this to be, we can keep it here if you want, but what we can do instead is just do an else. And we know, logically we know, if it's not over 100, and if it's not less than 0, and if it's not less than 50, it must be either 50, it has to be either 51 to 100. So we can keep the else here, and we can just run this, and then we can do 77, and then we can do 33 again. I wanna explain the or syntax a bit more. Let me show you. So let's do. Let me delete this. We'll keep all the operators up there for now. Let's do age equals 15. The print age is less than 15, or age is, oh hold up, age is less than 0, let's just say, or age is more than 100. Obviously people can live for more than 100, but for this example we'll just do 100 for now. So what this will do is it's going to check if age is less than 0, and if he is, it's going to return true, and if age is more than 100, if he is, it's going to return true, but if both of these are false, it's going to return false. If one of these two are true, it's going to return true because of this or syntax in the middle. So we know age is 15, and so we know age is going to be less than 0, and age is going to be less than 100, so it's going to return false. But let's see what happens if we do age is less than 25. It's going to return true because one of these two are true. But there's another syntax called and what this does is it wants this and this to be true. If one of the if either of these are false even once, it's going to return false. If either of these two are false, it's going to return false. If both of these are true, it's going to return true. But even if one of these is true and the other one is false, it's going to return false. So we know this is going to be true and this is going to be false. Let's run this, and it returns false. And if we want, we can do and age is more than 10. It's going to return true because both of these statements are true. If either of these statements were false, it's going to return false. So and is strict with both of these conditions being true, or is strict to only having one of them being true. So yeah, let's see this one more time. So we have name equals Jim again. If name equals Jim, or name equals we do Jack, print F welcome, and then we just do name, and then we do else print welcome, not welcome, we do F here, we do unknown no name, and we just do name. So we'll run this. So welcome Jim, because it's Jim. We'll do Jack. Welcome Jack. We'll do Steve. Unknown name Steve. But what will happen if we do the and syntax here? Well, logically this will never run, because name can't be Jim and Jack at the same time. It can be either of these two. So sometimes there's the best case used for or, sometimes there's the best case used for and. Right here the best case used for and is not suitable, it's or, because name can never be Jim or Jack at the same time. Let's run this. It'll be unknown name Steve. We'll do Jim, and then it'll be unknown name Jim. So it has to be an or here. then we run this. Welcome Jim. Alright, I'm gonna give you a project to do. If you remember, a couple of videos back we had the modulus operator, and we did number equals input, enter a number, we do print f the we do test equals number modulus 2 if we do test is test if test is 0, it means it's odd. If test is 1, oh no, it's even, and if test is 1, it means it's odd. So let's run this. It's getting a bit weird with this, but it's just auto reformat. So enter a number. Let's just say 11. We know this could be odd. 11 is gonna be an odd number. So oh yeah, this is a bug, type error. Not all arguments convert to string formatting. Test number divided by 2. Well, this was a bug on my part. Obviously, the issue is happening with this variable. This variable is not an integer, so we've fixed that. Hopefully, it works now. 11. If test is 1. If test is 0, it means it's even. Well, it's not 0, so it's not even number. If test is 1, it means it's odd. Well, it's odd because it's 1. What I want you to do is to make a if-else statement where if test is equal to 0, you print. So if test is odd or even, print number is odd, even, else print is odd. So I want you to make an if-else statement by yourself to test if these are odd or even numbers. So I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. Alright, hopefully you figured out how to do that with reference of this. We've pretty much got most of our code already written with the test and then the number. We don't need this print statement anymore. So what we need to do is test if test is equal to the number 1, not the string, number 0, not the string 0. We want to know if it's the number 0. Then what we do is print number is even, else we could do an L if test equals 1, but just to make it a little less code and a little more simple, we can do else print f number is odd. So let's try this. We get a number, enter a number. We'll do 19. 19 is odd. We'll do 24. 24 is even. We'll do 0. 0 is even. How about minus numbers? Minus 23. 23 is odd. Minus 23 is odd at least. So we've made this program taking minus numbers, which is not bad. We can have it, leave it with that minus numbers. We have it taking the number 0, and we have it taking in the positive number. So if you manage to get this, congrats. If you haven't, it's fine. You learn, we learn if else statements more as we go on. So we can also use if else statements for longer conditions. So let's have that roller coaster example again. We do age equals 12 and parent equals, well, we want, if parent equals yes or no, we want it to be true or false, so we do false. So we can do if age is equal as greater than 14, or age is greater or equal to 12 and parent equals true, and we'll just do nothing for now. So let's look at this. So if age is greater than 14, so it's looking at this first, and if it is, it'll just discard all of this because we're using an OR statement. Just fix that. It'll discard the rest of this and it'll just do this program. But if it's false, it'll look at this. So it'll look at if age is greater, is smaller or equal to 12, and if parent is true, it'll do this. So if you want to make this a bit clearer, we can put brackets around it. It's like bid mass, where it'll do everything in the bracket first, but obviously we're just doing this to make it a bit more clearer. Let's say print can go on ride, and we'll just do else print cannot go on ride. So right here it should print out cannot go to ride, because yes, age is equal to small to 12, but parent is false, so it's gonna remember and has to be both true. So let's run this. Cannot go on ride. Let's make this into 17. Yes, parent is false, but we did say if age is bigger than 14, and he has an OR statement, so it should say can go on ride. And yeah, another thing is we can do it where if parent print can go on ride, else print cannot. Well, this may look a bit confusing, but this is basically just shorthand saying if parent equal to true. It's basically, if you just write if parent, it should mean if parent equal to true. So let's just say this, cannot, let's just say that, still cannot, let's make this true, can go on ride, and let's just equal to true, can go on ride. So it's basically shorthand for that. Alright, so that's basically the basic, the entire basics of if-else statements, also else. I would fully recommend to play around with these operatings and work around with some actually we do parent, actually we do keep on age. Age is bigger than 14 and age is smaller than 25. So you can play around with that. So false. There's one more operator I failed to mention, which was not equal to. We'll quickly go over this now. So if we do age equals 27, so if we do if age is not equal to age is not equal to, I need a good example. Age is not equal, maybe we could do, instead of age we can do if score equals 78. If score is not equal 100, so the max is 100, score print print you have not received the highest score, else print you have received, just copy and paste this whole thing. So we test if score is not equal to 100. If it isn't, we do this. If it is, we do that. You have not received the high score. Obviously 78 isn't equal to 100, but let's see if we do 100 and you have received the high score. So this could be handy if you're looking for anything that is not 100, so it's basically the opposite of this assignment, not assignment, this equal to 2. So if you found this video helpful, again, make sure to subscribe, it'll help me out. And if you found if you got any questions with if out statements you want to ask, make sure to comment below, and we'll make sure to answer your questions. Watch out for the next video, stay tuned.